Hi, I'm James Van Ostel. This is Car Con Carne, and I'm recording on Sunday, March 5th. And you could probably tell looking at the video, it's gorgeous in Chicago. There's not a cloud in the sky. This is a perfect weekend afternoon. Now, if you live in Chicago or the suburbs, you know that the weather won't stay this way. I mean, how many opening days have we spent in April in cold, driving, miserable rain or just brutal winds? The weather will turn. That's one of the lovely things about living in the Midwest. The weather will change. When it does, I want you to have an ally. My friends at Suburban Roofing and Siding. For instance, have you been thinking about getting a new roof once the weather improves? Suburban Roofing and Siding. Think about this. A new roof can add about 7% to your property value, and it does so many good things as far as reducing energy costs for your house. Consider my friends, Suburban Roofing and Siding, for whatever you need. Talk to them before you need to talk to an insurance company for any reason. These are the guys. It's a family-owned company serving the Chicagoland area, Cook, Lake, McHenry, Kane, and DuPage counties. They have more than 40 years of collective experience. They warrant their workmanship for a lifetime as long as you own your house. Their premium shingles are backed with a full 20-year non-prorated transferable manufacturer warranty. Not to mention, it's a green product. Call 224-677-6149 or visit them at suburbanroofingandsiding.com. Car Con Carne, also sponsored by 90 Days in the 90s. It's a book. It's a fiction book that takes place in Chicago, in and around Chicago, but more specifically, Chicago during the 1990s. For those of us who lived through it, like let's say the Websters lived through it, we all remember how exciting and thrilling it was to be part of the scene. For those who weren't around, maybe lived somewhere else, or maybe were too young to experience Chicago in the 90s, you've heard the stories. They come alive in this new book by Andy Fry, 90 Days in the 90s. Darby owns a record store in town. Thank goodness this isn't a real book. I think we almost have enough record stores at this point in Chicago. But no, Darby owns a record store in Chicago, and she discovers a way back to Chicago in the 90s. That's the central premise. You can read for yourself. Get a copy on Amazon or direct through 90daysin the90s.com. So this episode is being recorded right outside Perkolator in Portage Park on Irving Park Road. My guests for this episode are The Nets. I love this band. I love their harmonies. And before we enjoy coffee and brunch from Perkolator, before we talk to Joe from Perkolator, I'm going to invite The Nets into the car, and they're going to perform a song right here in the middle of the day on Irving Park Road in Chicago.
Time where you and me belong, baby. I've been thinking that it's time I put these words into a song. I'm not one to have my
is. It is a gorgeous day in Chicago. We are in front of Perkolator, 6032 West Irving Park in the Portage Park neighborhood. To my right, if you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, that's Joe Basilone. He is the co-owner of Perkolator, along with his wife, Melissa, who's delightful.
She is definitely the better half.
And in the back seat, it's the Nets. The Nets are here. We just watched them perform. What was that song?
That song was called Another Bet.
Loved it. Those harmonies. We'll get to your music after we eat and talk to Joe, but oh my God. All right, so quick, we're here on a Sunday. I know you're slammed. Like, people are zooming in and out of this place, so I want to capture you while the coffee pot's hot, or whatever the metaphor is. You brought food.
I did.
For us to eat. So I'm going to distribute to the net. This is a heavy bag.
It's like 3 newborn babies. Those breakfast burritos and the jalapeno popper. Good call on that. Also one of our.
That was my choice. So
known for
Nets all have breakfast burritos. I went with the
Yes.
jalapeno popper bagel. Tell me what that is.
Jalapeno popper bagel is it's like one of your favorite appetizers, but in bagel sandwich form. So we start with a nice fresh everything bagel. We smear a nice generous amount of our homemade jalapeno cream cheese on there. Some crumbled bacon. Finish it off with a freshly cooked egg patty, melted cheddar cheese.
Stop it.
It's pretty stupid. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
this
awesome.
looks fantastic. This is a terrible idea for the car.
It's not a driving sandwich. I should have warned you, actually. I wasn't even thinking on that one.
We're not driving, but wow.
That's definitely a 3-napkin operation
Look at
there.
that.
So.
Oh, I can't wait to eat it.
Oh my gosh.
So hot and nice.
All right, so give me some history. Give us some history, Joe.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we opened Perkolator in 2014. Prior to that, we owned a little vintage thrift shop right across the street called Thrift and Thrive, which actually we closed down during the pandemic when we were in that period of all the shutdowns and the closures, and we knew we had to make some tough decisions. But as much as we really loved being in the vintage business, the community needed the cafe more, and so we furloughed our whole team so they could stay home, stay safe, and collect that unemployment. And we did a GoFundMe fundraiser for them as well. And Melissa and I basically turned our whole cafe overnight from a living, breathing, thriving, neighborhood cornerstone into an all subscription delivery at home coffee service. So we thought it was going to be this temporary thing for 2 or 3 weeks while the shutdown lasted, and we thought, well, if we can't get people out to see us safely, then how do we get to them? And so overnight we just pivoted, and that was like the buzzword, right? Pivot.
Well,
The big pivot.
but that's accurate, and I think smart businesses need to allow themselves that flexibility to go where the business is going.
Definitely. We were, I literally came up with the idea on my way to work, some back of the, napkin math there. And, I thought, well, if I can sell 100 bags of coffee, if I could find 100 of my customers to support me a week, and I make maybe $5 a bag, I'm not going to pay the bills, but I can, eat, I feed my kids, I can, stop the bleeding a little bit. And like I said, in 2 or 3 weeks, when all this is over, we'll just throw the doors back open. Well, 100 turned into 450 subscribers at the height of the pandemic, and 2 to 3 weeks turned into about 6 months of shutdown for us.
Yeah.
So when we did start to tease reopening, all of our subscribers who we thought, were just kind of on this temporary thing, were like, oh my gosh, you're not going to stop bringing like fresh roasted coffee to my door, are you? And we were like, not if you want us to. So we kept going and reopened. Well, didn't reopen the door, but we created a door within a door and had window service, and slowly reopened the cafe. And
I love that.
3 years later, the home subscription service is going strong. We turned what used to be our bookstore and record shop next door into a coffee roastery. So we're roasting our own now, and have been for about 2 years. And the cafe's back open, normal. People are sitting down and eating breakfast on a Sunday like this never happened, which is great.
I love it. I'm going to interrupt real quick. Nets, can I have a napkin? Speaking of back of the napkin, yeah. This is a very delicate operation I have going on here with the delicious jalapeno popper bagel. But I think you hit on something which is so important: the value of our local restaurants, coffee houses to the community. How ingrained they are with the neighborhood and the communities they serve.
especially on the northwest side. It's not like Logan Square, the cool neighborhoods yet. There's not 3 cafes.
This
on
is
every
kind
block.
of like Portage Park is heading there.
It's pretty cool, but there isn't a ton of stuff like this, and so the neighborhood really needs it. We've got 3 or 4 cafes that serve probably 40 to 50,000 households up here, and so everybody's got their favorite. We all kind of coexist. From a local cafe standpoint, none of us are competitors. This is a really nice symbiosis that we have. Each cafe has its own little thing that we offer. We're just trying to keep people from skipping the drive-thrus and come and support local.
I love it. Nats, what's the verdict on the breakfast burritos and the matcha and whatever you're drinking?
Oh my
back there?
gosh.
Pretty quiet back here.
My burrito's almost gone.
Is it really?
Yeah. I really destroyed
It's
this.
so delicious.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Hey, are Nets members of the Clean Plate Club?
I think we will be.
Yes.
Gold stars for all of
We are.
you.
So what drinks are you drinking back there?
Sonia and I have these oat milk matcha lattes, which are incredibly good.
Incredible.
Thank
My
you.
very first ever matcha latte.
First
Oh,
one.
wow.
First ever matcha latte. Yeah. And it's awesome. Definitely going to get into my regular order list.
Rotation.
Rotation, that's the word, yeah.
I didn't come to Perkolator to play. I'm drinking a red eye, which is coffee with a shot of espresso.
Right.
That's how we do it on a Sunday.
Heck yeah. Not messing around.
What's sweet in this jalapeno popper bagel? There's a sweetness to it. Could it be the cream cheese, maybe?
It's probably the cream cheese, yeah.
It's delicious.
Thank you.
Maybe it's the bacon.
Oh, that's true too, yeah. It's a really great just combination of flavors.
Is it like a brown sugar on the bacon, maybe?
No, it's actually not a. It's
Just
not a
good old
sweet
pork
bacon.
fat?
Yeah, just good old pork fat. Crumbly
Amen.
stuff.
Let's talk a little bit about your coffees. What's the standard? If someone were looking to subscribe to something, didn't want to get too adventurous, didn't want to get too dark, what are they going with?
So, at percolatorcoffee.com, we just relaunched our website. There's now a coffee quiz that you can take. You answer about 7 questions, and it's going to help you zero in on your perfect thing. But
It's brilliant. It's like BuzzFeed. Which coffee are you?
Exactly, very much so. But we brew we roast a variety of different brews from light to medium to dark. And when somebody comes in and they don't know what they want, I always try to start them out with a medium roast. They seem to be the ones that keep my light roast customers happy and my dark roast customers happy. They're great without cream. They're great with cream. And our signature is called the Portage Park blend. And I named it that for a reason because we are so community focused, but it's usually the bag that everybody goes for. So I wanted that one to be the star of the show. And it really is. So our Portage Park blend is a medium roast and everyone loves it.
So I don't know enough about coffee roasting and identifying beans and sourcing beans. Where do the beans come from?
We get our beans from all over the world. We work with a couple of importers, so we're not direct trade yet, but we're hoping to be in the next year or so. We work with a wonderful, for the most part, most of our coffees come from a wonderful importer out of Minneapolis, so, not too far away. They're bringing in coffees from us from all over the world, so we have, I think, 9 or 10 different blends and single origins that we carry on a regular basis, and then one that we rotate out monthly. And they're literally coming from all the growing regions in the world. So the Americas, Central and South America, the Africans, and then the Indonesian and Asian coffees. So, we have coffee from Colombia, from Costa Rica, from Brazil, Guatemala, Ethiopia, Kenya. We threw some Vietnamese coffee in our holiday blend this year. That was a lot of fun. We have an El Salvador right now. That's our Origin Select. People love our Sumatra. That's about the darkest we get. And it's just one of those coffees that really, hits home and reminds you of, that best cup of coffee you've ever had in your life. Just roasty and really warming. And that's a nice Indonesian coffee. I'm sure I'm missing a couple. My palate's in there getting a little low, but I've got a new order coming in either Monday or Tuesday. So the one problem with our roastery is there's only a 2.5-foot door, so they drop the pallet right in front of the door there, and then I got to bring it in 170-kilo bag at a time. So, yeah, it is. That's why I skipped the gym,
I have no excuse. Maybe I should start lifting coffee. And all the food is made from scratch.
Everything's made from scratch, right down to the sauces. The only thing that we don't do is the baking. So, but that stuff we get from local bakeries right around the neighborhood. And, if we don't make it, we're going to the people that make it the best and make it with that same kind of consideration and love that we do everything else with.
This is a textbook example of doing a community neighborhood coffee house right. I love it.
Thank you so much.
The food is great. I'm anxious to kick you out of the car so that I could eat this bagel with just gleeful abandon. Like, just turn off the camera and just go to town on this.
Do it.
I'm anxious to do that. All right, so if people want to subscribe, which, by the way, just to talk about that 1 second, you mentioned how people started subscribing during the pandemic. I was one of those people who, like, to me, getting stuff delivered to my house was kind of like that lifeline. Like, oh, a missive from the outside world. I wonder what's going on. It was lovely and exciting. But kind of like your subscribers, I've become kind of hooked on, I'm not just talking Amazon, I'm talking about just having things delivered and like that surprise and delight of having stuff come to your door. Like, there's something really special about that.
Without a doubt. And, like I said, we really didn't think that it was going to be this permanent thing, but we can absolutely see why people do love the service. If you subscribe, it comes with free home delivery if you're in Chicago or the surrounding suburbs. We, depending on your zip code, we're going to show up to your house the same day every week, or you could do weekly, bi-weekly, once a month. You could send it to your friends, you could send it to your enemies, and if you subscribe, you actually save 10% off of what you'd pay in house. So,
awesome.
It's actually going to be cheaper, and we're going to bring it to you. And then we also have some little other exciting things for subscribers that you can check out on the website. But it's really nice. You can choose your frequency, and of course, if you want to send someone a gift, you can do that. We have an Explorers Club where we're going to send you our different origin select every month, so it's always a new treat. We also have something called Surprise Me, our Roaster's Pick, I think we just changed the name to. So that's for the really adventurous person. And then you could subscribe to, any of our light roasts. We'll mix them up, any of our dark roasts. Or you can just say, you know what, I really love your Ethiopia. That's what I want once a week. Bring it to me. And then we also have husbands and wives that can't get along, or partners that can't get along. And so one of them gets a light roast and the other one gets a dark roast. And we love those people.
Yeah, I bet you do. All right, so the website is?
Perkolatorcoffee.com. That's Perkolator with a K, PerkolatorCoffee.com.
Love it. I know you're busy. Thank you for the food. Thank you for the chat. Love your place.
Thank you so much, James. I really appreciate you guys coming out here. I can hardly wait to hear y'all play, and it was just so nice meeting everyone, and really just a great opportunity for me to get a break on a Sunday, a very muchly needed break. So
we're here to help.
Anytime.
All right, cool. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
The food
My
is
pleasure.
Amazing.
I'm so glad you love it.
Taste the love. You can taste
All right, so here we are at the final part of our journey together, the Nets. I have Alex and Sonya in the back seat, Kristina sitting shotgun. So you performed. We talked about the song you played. That is a new song.
Yes, yeah. In effect, all of our songs are new songs.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. We're gonna get to that. So the Nets are very new, like 2 years at most together.
Yeah,
A year and a half,
and we
actually.
kept it really, about a year and a half. And we really, we performed a little bit last year, but this project has been so different and unique from anything I've been a part of before, because it hasn't been about an agenda or like playing a ton of shows. It's been about 100% about the songwriting. And I think the very first practice we ever had, we just wanted to get together and jam, and we left it and we had 3 full songs.
Yeah.
we did.
Which is interesting because the release of those songs has been very slow.
Well,
Very slow.
We actually haven't released any of them as of today, but that'll be upcoming.
Well, there was the cover last year.
Right.
Yes.
The end of 2022, we released a cover of Fleet Foxes' White Winter Hymnal, as sort of a taste of what's to come. And then our debut original song was actually started by Sonya during the pandemic and then completed with the Nets a little bit later. And that song is called, Sonya, I'll let you introduce it here.
It's called The Loudest Voice. And
Silence is the loudest voice.
Silence.
Words can never fill the void.
yes.
Exactly.
And the song and video are scheduled for release on the 24th of March. So we're recording this on the 5th. So it's still a couple weeks away. So we're building excitement
Yes.
for that. And you're also performing on WGN television that day.
We are. We're performing the song live. And then we're so excited to have our original songs and tracks out in the world. And we hope that it's like the slow start of a release of all these original songs we've been working on for a year and a half, because I think we have now, 15?
I think
13,
close to
14,
that.
15 original songs.
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah. So we could definitely record if somebody gave us a ton of money right now, we could definitely go do an album.
Okay.
In
The
case
songs
anyone's
are
interested.
there in case.
We have Venmo.
So you're saying a ton of money would make things easier.
Oh, definitely.
Interesting.
Producing and recording.
Such a weird
music,
philosophy.
it comes at a cost, and when you care a lot about your songs, you want to put them out in a way that you're really proud of, and that takes time and money to do.
Let's just see what WGN Television offers for amenities. I bet you're not getting matcha.
Matcha and
we're
tasty
we're
burritos
definitely
is
not
hard to
getting
beat.
big burritos.
Yeah. They can't compare to what you get here at Car Con Carne. So all these songs that you're waiting to record, produce, release, we'll see them. You'll be performing them, I'm assuming, at Uncommon Ground on the 31st.
Yes.
That's right. We're actually joined by two amazing songwriters that night, Christine Melody and Sarah Jean Stevens. And one thing we're also about is, it's actually Women's History Month, is empowering women artists. And so we're playing the bill, and we just said, you know what, we're all headlining this show. We're splitting the time exactly equal. We're splitting the pay equal. So
I love it.
it's really important to us as well.
And that's in Lakeview.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Lakeview location.
The Nets Uncommon Ground, March 31st. And then the single comes out on the 24th. That's The Loudest Voice. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit, since you are only a year and a half into this as the Nets. I think it's got to be hard to find musicians who you're compatible with. Finding musicians whose harmonies you're compatible with, I feel like it's got to be more of a needle in a haystack sort of Easter egg hunt. I'm going to keep throwing metaphors your way. But they can't be easy to do.
It definitely is not. I think that something that's really special about us is that individually we have really different voices, and when we come together and sing in 3-part harmony, we sound like one unit. And I feel like our 3 individual voices and tones really give it a special personality. And it feels really good to harmonize with your best friends. So it's pretty special.
I think another cool thing is that all 3 of us do have very different voices, but we also kind of come from like different interests and genres as well. So this whole project has kind of been like a meshing of so many different like kinds of music for us, to find something like if we're in a like Venn diagram, like something in the middle, which I think has been really cool and like a really cool learning experience too.
Definitely.
So when you started jamming together, do you remember the first time you all kind of just harmonized?
Yes.
We were
Definitely.
on my porch in Ravenswood, or deck. But I think I have to give props to Sonya here, because she is a harmony genius. And I have a whole new appreciation for singing harmony. It's so much harder than lead vocals.
Oh yeah,
So much harder.
This is brand new to me. I've never sang harmony
Really?
ever. So I am in a deep learning process, and it's pretty fun. But Sonya's the master here.
She's our harmony leader for sure.
So you were on your deck in Ravenswood. And do you remember, did you get chills? Did you think, oh my God, this is it?
Oh, big chills. Big time.
So the first song we worked on, I had like a verse and a chorus. It was called The Space Between. And I think I sang it through once, and Sonya just started singing along, and then she, gave us each different parts, and then Alex just started playing this beautiful solo over the chord progression. And then we were like, wow, let's just start with that guitar solo, and then go in, full voice on the hook. And then before we knew it, we had like a fully fleshed, arranged song. It was just very organic, and everything about this project just felt so organic and so good.
And I feel like, at least for me, a big part of that, like just it feeling good, has been that this isn't like, we're not doing this for like money or to like get famous or anything like that. It's genuinely like something that makes us all feel good, and it's like an escape almost after like the main big part of the pandemic, of being so isolated and like generally down and like sad, honestly. And like having a project like this to like keep being able to go back to and like meet up with your friends and make music that you love, that's what it's really about for me. Yeah, it's like an escape. It's not for anything else except that and fun and being with my best pals. So
Totally.
I completely get it. I mean, I was the same way. The fact that I could sit in the back seat as you're performing, like, I'm clearly not getting rich off doing this, but this to me is like a way to reconnect with people. And actually, this podcast has kind of become my social life. But I completely understand. Like, okay, maybe some rewards will come, but this is that release.
yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
It's a creative avenue. And well, I love those harmonies, and I'm not hearing a lot of this right now in Chicago. So to me, what the Nets are doing is an absolute breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's really nice.
Well, I think the second people see or hear you for the first time, the three of you were performing in the car a few minutes ago. I swear I got the chills. It was just it was so perfect. It's the Mazda. I mean, obviously it's the
It is the
venue.
Mazda.
The magic of the Mazda.
I love something Alex touched on a few minutes ago about sort of our genre background and genre diversity as well. So the song that we played, that's the other thing about us, is we each lead different songs, and we each we're all songwriters, and this is the first time I've ever been in a group where everyone in the band is a songwriter.
Yeah.
So that's really fun, and Alex brings in more of like country feeling sounds and songs, and that was one of the songs that we just played, Another Bet. Sonya and I come from a background, of like a soul rock band, have some like jazzy, bluesy influences, so it's really cool to see how we can find those elements within the forms and songs that we each bring in and sort of incorporate them all together and make them uniquely our collective sound.
I think that's what makes us interesting too.
Agreed.
It's not just a one note thing. It varies. So
We have many genres touched on throughout our set.
yeah,
But all those genres are uniquely American sounds too.
yeah,
They work together. This is American music, whether you're talking about the blues or jazz or country music.
Right.
Totally.
It doesn't sound disjointed like our
Right.
sets, but it has, it keeps you interested.
Yeah. A lot of different vibes.
All right, so knowing that you're doing the Nets for all the right reasons, it's organic, you're friends, you're creatively inspiring one another, what is the plan after Uncommon Ground?
Well, we are hoping to record more of our music. So, we've got these couple shows coming up, and then this spring we're hoping to get some more of our music out into the world.
I'll just say too, so we recorded the two songs, the cover and then the Loudest Voice, which is coming out with Joe from Reverb, owner of Red Room, an amazing engineer, and it's been a fantastic recording process. And throughout this process, Sonya has such a good ear, and there's so many, women producers are only 2% in the music industry, so it's very underrepresented, and Sonya's been, getting gear and has a really good ear for it. So I think when we're recording this spring, Sonya's going to produce some of our stuff.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun, and that'll give us also a little bit more freedom to just take our time with things as well.
Yes.
Okay, so again, the 24th is when the Loudest Voice becomes readily available, streamable, consumable. We'll see you on WGN television. We'll see you at Uncommon Ground on the 31st. Thank you, the Nets.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. This
very
was
fun.
really fun.
We love Car Con Carne.
I also want to thank Joe Basilone of Perkolator
Yes.
for his hospitality and gregarious self jumping in the car. If you like coffee,
Go there.
Perkolator. Perkolator.
and now we're left with an entire Sunday afternoon in the sun.
Yes.
Lovely.
Beautiful.
A true Sunday.
Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.